Hey everybody, Mr. Justin here, and we're going to have so much fun with our science experiment video this week because we are going to be making bubbles. Everyone loves bubbles, right? We're going to have so much fun with bubbles. I'm going to show you how to make a bubble mixture and also how to make a couple like do-it-yourself, made-at-home bubble wands. So that's going to be a lot of fun, and then we'll have a little fun with bubbles. We'll talk a little bit about how bubbles work once we make some bubbles. So I have my mixture here, but we're going to go ahead and make a mixture first. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to take a container, and I have distilled water. I've heard distilled water works pretty well. This is made with just tap water, but we're going to try this one with distilled water, but you can use tap water. The recipe that we are going to use that I found online is going to be 6 cups. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cups of distilled water, or tap water if that's what you have at home. Next, we are going to take corn syrup and add a cup of corn syrup. There's also recipes out there that you can add glycerin. We don't have glycerin on hand, but we do have corn syrup. So I'm going to put a cup of corn syrup in here, and this should be all I have left. And we're going to put that in there, in the corn syrup. And then I'm going to take my spoon, and we are going to stir it and mix it up a little bit to get the water and the corn syrup to kind of mix. So we're just going to mix that. And that looks pretty good. You can mix it a little longer, but we want to go ahead and get going. So we got the water and the corn syrup mixed. And is that going to make bubbles all by itself? Of course not. What do we need in order to make bubbles? We need soap. So you can use best soaps that I've read is either Joy or the Blue Dawn, and we have the Dawn here. And this recipe that we're going to use is going to be about 2 cups worth of Dawn soap. And so let's fill this cup right here. It's going to be 1. And this might be a good experiment to do outside because it can get a little bit messy. Especially once you start blowing the bubbles, you might want to be outside for this. And we have our 2. And guess what we're going to do now that we have everything together? We are going to mix again. So now we have our 6 cups of water. In this case, we use distilled water with our cup of corn syrup that we mixed together. And then we added 2 cups of soap. We used the Blue Dawn, and now we're mixing it together too. I've read things where it's good that if you let it sit a night, let it sit a few hours, that works a little bit better that way. And that's what we have here. We have a mixture that's been sitting since yesterday, but we're going to go ahead and see how this one works because I haven't used it with distilled water before. And then we have our soap mixture. You don't want to create too many bubbles ahead of time because we'll be making the bubbles all on our own. And there we go. So let's go ahead and make a couple different bubble wands. For this one, we just need a little craft felt stick, a little pipe cleaner right here. And you can make whatever shape you want. I'm just going to make a circle and then just go ahead and tie it there or just have it go over. And we have this right here. So I'm going to dip it into the mixture, the bubble solution, and you can blow right into it. And there's a bubble right there. Nice. Oh, that's a pretty big one. Look at that. Nice. If you're outside, you also might want to wave it around. Since I don't want the water, the mixture to go everywhere around me right now, I won't be doing that, but we can blow that. And we made some cool bubbles. So I'm curious if we make even a larger circle, if I can make larger bubbles. Let's see. That doesn't seem to want to go. Ooh, that was going to be pretty big. There are some pretty big bubbles right there. There we go. That's nice and big. And you can see when we blow the bubbles, doesn't matter if I made this into a square or a star or a triangle, they always are going to close up and become spheres, become circles. That's just going to be the easiest for them with the surface area, is just to be turned into a circular sphere shape. So it doesn't matter what you have. And we're going to be doing something right now where we're going to be making a rectangle shape, but everything, it's always going to close off and form a sphere, a circular shape. So the next thing that we're going to make, little Juan, we're just going to need some string and some straws. So I'm going to take my straws right here, and with these plastic straws with the bendy, I'm just going to cut a little bit under the bendy, and we're going to use these as kind of our handles. And then you can do your string, and it can be any length. You don't want it to be too long, but we'll do that right there. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to thread, hopefully my hand's not too wet and bubbly, but I'm going to go ahead and thread it through the straw. And when it reaches the other side, I'm going to go ahead and, there we go. And then I'm going to take the other side and I'm going to thread it through again. And once it reaches the other side, just like the first one, I can go ahead and grab it and pull it all the way through. And then I can go ahead and tie a knot. And hopefully my soapy hands will let me do this. So we're going to tie a knot. Make it nice and tight. You can even do a double knot if you want, but we're just going to do that for now. I'm going to cut some of the extra off. And then we want the knot, you don't have to do this, but I like putting the knot in one of the straws. And then we have our little new wand right here. Again, it's a rectangular shape, but we're still going to get circular bubbles. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead, go like that, and there we go. So with this one, what I do is I open it up, I move up, and I close it to kind of cut off the bubble. And you can even put your finger in the bubble, because your finger is going to be covered in the soap. You're going to put it in there, and you're going to put your finger in the bubble, and it's not going to necessarily pop, kind of like what we were doing with the first experiment we did with the plastic bag and the pencils. But you need your hand to be soapy in order to do that. So let's go ahead and get another one. Oops. There we go. And there. And again, you can be a little more adventurous with this if you're outside. There's a big one trying to attack me, pop right on me. But these bubbles are actually turning out pretty good using the corn syrup and the distilled water. There's one right there. Oh, right there, finger in the bubble. Trying to go straight for my head, aren't you? Oh, it bounced off me. That was kind of cool. So one might wonder, like, what do you think's inside one of these bubbles? So these bubbles are getting pretty big. What is inside the bubble? Is it going to be water? Is it going to be soap? Is it going to be air? Ooh, that was kind of cool. It is actually filled with air. And so it is kind of water and soap film, and it is surrounded by a bubble of air. And so what's kind of cool is when you get around it, it's actually 3 layers. The top layer is going to be a layer of the soap film with a layer of water in the center, and then a 3rd layer of soap film. So it's almost going to be a sandwich where you got soap film, water, soap film, and the molecules are kind of keeping it together, forming that bubble shape and the bubble structure. But if anything interrupts it, it will pop and get destroyed just like that. And so that is how we get our bubbles. So again, this is using a mixture of distilled water, corn syrup, and soap. And using our homemade. You can also, similar to what we did with the pipe cleaner, if you want kind of bigger bubbles, you can also use like a wire hanger, and you can kind of undo the wire hanger and make shapes that way. And again, it doesn't matter what shape you make your bubble wand into, the bubbles are always going to come out to be circles. So thank you so much for joining us. I hope you're going to have fun making the bubbles, and I hope you enjoyed all of our bubbles today. And again, this might be an experiment you want to do outside, because I am making a mess inside. So thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you all next time.